Well, there's some good economic news out there, and we're going to talk about that on the program today. I'm Tim Wildman. You're watching Reason and Company with Abe Hamilton and Ed Vitagliano. We are not economists, but we're going to pretend like we are for the next 2 or 3 minutes here. Yeah, there is some good news out, right?
Yeah, well, since 2017, since President Trump took office, 1.5 million people have come off welfare rolls. Recent reports show modest gains in manufacturing, retail sales, vehicle sales, residential construction. These are up modestly. The stock market's been doing really well. Has set at least 23 records this year. So there is some very good economic news that kind of flies below the radar with the mainstream media because they're usually talking about things having to do with Russia or Senator Bob Corker and his tweet war with the president. But there's some good economic news.
If this were a liberal Democrat in the White House and this kind of good economic news was out there, it'd be day after day after day of reporting by the mainstream media how wonderful the effect of this presidency has had on the economy.
Yes, I think that's a safe bet.
You know, I think with presidents, oftentimes they do get too much credit and they get too much blame for the economy. But in this case, President Trump, he's never one to shy away from too much credit. So
that is also true.
He loves this good news from the economy.
Yes.
And you'll be hearing from him about that.
Maybe personally.
And quite frankly, he does deserve some credit for the optimism that is returned to people in many ways in terms of the economy. Speaking of people coming off the food stamp or welfare rolls, we have safety nets built in America to help people who are down on their luck or they lose their job. We don't want people to starve, so we have this food program. But the fact that the numbers are coming down seems to indicate to me, Abe, more people maybe are getting jobs.
Yeah.
And I wanted you to talk about, from a biblical perspective, the value of work and the dignity it brings.
Sure. Sometimes people misunderstand work and its primacy that predates the fall. So people say work is a product of the fall.
The fall of what?
The fall of mankind.
Not the stock market.
Not the stock market. The fall of mankind following Adam and Eve's rebellion in the garden. But in reality, work precedes that rebellion. Work was always a blessing from God, giving man an opportunity to express the creativity we receive as a result of being image bearers of the Creator himself. It's interesting that even FDR in his 1935 State of the Union address indicated that the systematic doling out of welfare would be a narcotic, and it was a subtle destroyer of the will and soul of man. It tells us that they knew that all the way back then in 1935. Why don't we understand it today? It's good news to see people getting off welfare and getting back to work, using their God-given potential to produce with their hands and their feet and their minds.
Absolutely. If people can have a job and work for a living, then they can have dignity, as Abe said, and as we know this to be true, just handing people things, those people who are handed things don't have an appreciation for them or the value of them. So good news on the economy. Thanks for watching Reason and Company. We'll see you next time.